Welcome back into the drive here on ESPN Cleveland. Hope everyone out there is having a good Monday afternoon. Just an FYI, Andy and Jacob are both in Florida, so I pity the state of Florida, if you will. But, man, I have got a great co-host with me today, Bart Greenberger. You've been on the show a few times now, and you're here to talk a little sports with me. Bart, if you don't know, is an official, umpire, a referee, you name it. He's probably done it. But a lot of things going on in the world of sports. This is such a good time. You got baseball postseason, which we all love that. You got college football is right in the middle of its season. The NFL is starting to play. By the way, we're got some crazy games going on in the NFL. We're going to get to that too. And of course, you got the NBA and NHL. They're about to commence. So a lot of things going on. October is a great month for sports.
Love October. Thank you for having me again today. Is there a better month in football? A better month than October with all the football that we have? Baseball, I know you and I, that's our love, so that's wrapping up. Then, as you mentioned, the other sports, I'm a St. Louis Blues fan. I know there aren't a lot of hockey fans down here. I've never gotten into NBA, but you didn't mention college basketball.
Love college basketball.
And it's just kicking off. All these teams are doing their Midnight Madness stuff. It's a great time of year, Jim.
It is. A lot. It's so funny that you mentioned basketball. We're going to get into the football stuff here in a minute, but a lot of people don't pay attention to college basketball until March Madness. Personally, I love the regular season. I love watching big games on Wednesday night or Saturday or whatever. I just enjoy regular season college basketball. But, man, not a lot of people do. Most everyone pays attention to March Madness, but that's the one sport that I'm like, you're missing out on some great things that go on in January, February, and early week of March, So I personally love college basketball.
And you remember where I went to school. For the listeners who don't know, I went to Indiana University. We are not just a football school. I grew up on college basketball. And that Tuesday, 7 o'clock game that you go to the stadium and you were home by 9:30.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. So regular season, weekday basketball games, they're awesome.
Yeah, they are. All right, hey, let's get into it. First off, by the way, around 5:40, 5:45, we'll be talking to Cleveland head football coach Chris Brown. We'll get his take on that loss to Bradley. By the way, this week, Cleveland, they're open. They have an open date. Walker Valley has an open date. Unbelievable game, Walker Valley, East Hamilton. Andy and I, we did that game, and just tremendous fourth quarter. What a comeback by Walker Valley. Of course, they kicked the field goal, they walk it off, and now they're sitting there at 6-1. Just a tremendous game. So I'm very blessed we got to see that. All right, let's start off. And we usually start off with college football. We're going to start off with the NFL.
Yeah.
Anybody that saw what happened in Glendale, Arizona, some of the most boneheaded mistakes that I've ever seen. The Cardinals literally handed that Titans game away on a silver platter. And in case anyone out there didn't see the highlights, Amari Demercado drops the ball at the goal line. He's a running back. He had literally had a 71-yard touchdown. And by the way, I'm sure you saw this. He was slowing down right when he got to the end zone. And of course, the defender was right on his heels, but he dropped the ball before the defender knocked it out. It goes through the back of the end zone for a touchback. No touchdown. Titans get the ball. And then later on, Cam Ward throws an interception. The ball was tipped by a defender. Ball was picked off. Then the guy that intercepts the ball, he fumbles it. It gets slapped into the end zone. Guys trying to fall on it. They slapped it into the end zone. The Titans jump on it for a touchdown. Maybe the most undeserving win that we'll see in the NFL this year. The Titans had no business winning that game.
Zero. And I was watching that game, and Demercado, he didn't slow down at the end zone. He slowed down at about the 10.
At the 10, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was slowed
down. And did you notice the defender? The defender knew immediately and started to the ref. He pointed to the ref. Did you see it? Did you see it? And then I just saw, as I was here in the parking lot, I saw the video of Arizona's head coach, Gannon, ripping Demercado on the sideline.
Listen, this is a guy. This is not like Emmitt Smith, who had scored over 100 touchdowns in life. He's only scored 3 touchdowns in his career. It ain't like, been there, done that so many times. You can't. And it kills me, Bart. We see this every year, be it the NFL, be it in college, high school. It seems like every year we see someone do this. How do you drop a ball prior to crossing the goal line? It is absolutely mind-boggling, but we saw it again yesterday.
What is that, the 3rd time this NFL season? I think it's 3. I could be wrong. It's at least twice because I saw it. I don't remember who it was on the left side of the field from the camera angle.
Okay.
I just remember seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we see it all the time in college and the pros. And it's like, I just don't you used to never see it. I guess we've seen it now multiple times over the last 10, 15 years. But it is what it is. Now, let's talk about.
Whoa, before you switch it,
okay.
I follow Kurt Warner on X.
By the way, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He is.
I don't disagree. He said some young man is going to lose his job today because of a mistake. Granted, a big mistake, but does this young man deserve to lose his job? I have not read that he has been cut yet. My question for Jim is, would you cut him?
Depends on the backups. Depends on the other guys I've got on the roster.
Trey Benson, IL.
Yeah.
Connor, IL.
You have to look at, if he's gone, then what do we got? I mean, the guy, obviously, he has enough talent to run for a 71-yard touchdown, but he slowed down when he shouldn't have, and he dropped the ball when he shouldn't have. 2 mistakes on his part. I don't know if I do or not. I fine him. I fine him.
One perspective could be he'll never make that same mistake again. I don't get rid of him. It's a bonehead play. I'm yelling and screaming at him on Monday, not on Sunday.
Yep.
But I don't cut him because I think I'm going to get the best running back possible moving forward.
It's kind of like this. Do you treat all players equally? No, you don't.
You do not.
You've got the stars get a little bit more leeway. That's just the fact. And I'm not saying this guy's a star, but obviously he's good enough to be in the game, and he's good enough to break one off for 70-plus yards. I probably don't, but, man, I'm telling you, nobody feels worse than he does.
Nobody.
And we've talked about guys that have done this. You only see one guy do it once. After they've done it once, they hold on to that ball, and they'll physically hand it to the referee the next time because all it takes is one time.
And it did cost him a victory in the NFL.
Yeah.
But he'll never do it again. I hang on to him. It's just one person's opinion.
Yeah. Trying to remember who's Jonathan Taylor plays for the Colts.
That was it.
Was it last year or this year?
But
anyway, he's done it
last year,
and he felt it cost him the game. And this one, really and truly, it kind of probably cost the.
It did cost him.
Game.
It was the Indianapolis Colts wide receiver who cost the game against. Was it the Rams? Maybe. Who Adonai Mitchell dropped it before he got into the end zone against the Rams about 2 weeks ago. So, yes, it's at least the second this year.
Like I said, we've seen great players do it. Obviously, you're not going to cut Jonathan Taylor.
Of course.
But, I mean, this guy, he's not exactly a household name. He's not going to make an all-pro team. But I got to look at the rest of my roster, see how they are before I do that.
And they have nobody, by the way, so I keep them.
Okay, let's talk about what happened in college football. Nothing prepared me for what happened in Pasadena, California.
Nobody.
UCLA, we all know, everyone around here, they don't like UCLA because Nico Iamaleava spurned the Vols and goes to UCLA. And a lot of Vols fans take a lot of pride in the fact that he's played poorly. UCLA hadn't led a second this year. All 4 losses, they never led. They lost. They were 0-4. Not only did they take the lead, they jump out to a significant lead. Penn State came back a couple times, but, man, unbelievable. This is an 0-4 UCLA team that looked like they had no business being on the same field with Penn State, and they upset the Nittany Lions. And you could say that when Oregon beat Penn State, basically they beat them twice. They beat them there at Happy Valley, and then the carryover was so severe that it carried over in Pasadena, and now here it is, Penn State. Lost 2 games in a row. Losing to Oregon's one thing. Oregon's a really, really good team. I mean, a really good team. Losing to UCLA
is embarrassing.
Unbelievable.
I saw the halftime score. my wife and I had actually gone to Atlanta. I come back, I sit down, I'm ready to watch some college football, and I see the score, and they're losing. I said, that's impossible. So I get on my phone, and they're losing. It wasn't a typo. And then I started watching, and then I turned it off. I said, all right, well, Penn State's coming back.
Yeah, that's what everyone. I kept waiting for them to come back.
42-37, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, and
does that cost James Franklin his job?
Well, if it would have cost his job, he would have lost it by now. They would have fired him today. Now, if today's still a lot, it's still the day's still going. It's not like
I don't think it does.
I don't think it does either.
Because that's a team that could theoretically run the table. I don't think they will. But you're right. That loss to Oregon in double overtime was a 2-loss game.
Yeah, I think so. I think Penn State, they were down in the dumps by losing to Oregon. And then they looked at UCLA. They're like, oh, we don't have to work. Let's just go out there and win the game, and we'll come back home. Daggone, I can't believe we lost that Oregon game. I don't think they took him seriously.
They didn't.
I think they overlooked UCLA.
But let's also not discount the fact that traveling across the country takes a toll on people. They talk about the international games, which I know we may get to later on in the NFL, and they talk about how much that affects players. Traveling from Penn State to UCLA, this is what we have when we have these super conferences now.
Yeah, but I mean, they're on the plane for what, 3.5 hours?
Minimum. I don't know from Penn State, but that sounds right.
But it's not like they got there on Saturday morning. They've been there. I know that there's probably some truth in that, but man, I just think I think it's a looking for an excuse. I see teams in the NFL, they do it all the time. The Dodgers, they go to, you see in Major League Baseball, they do it all the time, and they seem to do okay. I get it, and maybe you're on the plane a little bit longer. Listen, if you're in the SEC and you're from Columbia, South Carolina, and you fly to Austin, Texas, you're on the plane for a couple hours. Just maybe an hour and a half more. Does that cost you? I don't know. Maybe there's some truth to it, but I think it's more of a just looking for an excuse is the reason. I'm like, because I see it in other sports, and I don't see it as that big of a deal as some people are making it out to be.
And they say when you fly west to east, and now you're playing a body clock game that is, say, 9 o'clock, that might make a difference too. Like the West Coast teams.
I think West East is harder than East West.
I agree with that.
Unless it's like an 8 o'clock West Coast start, then that's 11 o'clock at night. East Coast start. In your body clock. But man, like I said, I'm not buying it that much. All right, so we've got that one. By the way, that's the first time a winless team, 0-4 or worse, has beaten a top 10 ranked team since 1986. 1986, wow. And that was UTEP, and I wish I'd have written down who was. But yeah, that's a while. That's been a while since that's happened.
We didn't talk about this last time I was on. Would you get rid of preseason, early season rankings in college football and not start it until week 5?
I wouldn't. You know why? It's tradition. They've gotten rid of so many traditions. It's okay. I'm okay with the preseason rankings being wrong.
And they are.
But I'm okay with it. But listen, I want to see a number besides a team when they play another team, ranked versus ranked. It adds hype to the game. If it's two unranked teams, Alabama, Georgia, they're not ranked. It doesn't feel as big. It doesn't feel as big because when you see a number to the left of both teams, to me it adds something to it. When Texas played Ohio State this year, it was 1 versus 3. That game was super hyped up. 1 versus 3. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, number one lost their first game of the year. If you don't rank them, then it doesn't feel as big. So I want them to be. I want the preseason rankings, and I want the rankings to be there through every game. And AP ranking has zero effect on because it's the college football playoff poll that they give or rankings that the real ones, the ones that we use to place the teams in the bracket. But what about you? A lot of people don't want the rankings this early in the season.
I don't like the rankings, and Texas and Penn State are proving why, because they're a joke. We don't know how good or bad a team is until they actually go out and play. And that's across the board. You could be a bad team playing good teams. You could be good teams playing bad teams. You just don't know. So you're right. My team this week is number 7. They're playing number 3, and it sounds great. 3 versus 7. Big game. It would have been a big game anyway, whether we had rankings yet or not. But the first 4 weeks, you maybe get 5 good matchups in all of college football. Everything else is cupcakes.
Here's my thing. Indiana, historically, we know that historically is not a highly rated team. Okay, rarely are they in the rankings. They're ranked highly this year. If there wasn't a number to the left of Indiana, I don't think people would think it's as big. Because it's Indiana. Oregon will beat them. Indiana's a fluke. I think having that number next to Indiana will get the attention of Oregon, and obviously, I just think the numbers to the left of those teams' names makes those games feel more important, more exciting. There's a hype around them and that's why I like them.
I get it. Start the rankings in week 5, not preseason. That's just my opinion.
I get it. I do. I see both sides, but I'm a traditionalist. They've been doing the preseason rankings since 1950. There's so many traditions that have been thrown away. I mean, you talked about the super conferences. I mean, they threw the Pac-12 away pretty much. So whatever traditions we can hold on to, I want to hold on to them, man, because they're being ripped away left and right. But now let's talk a little bit about Texas.
Go ahead.
All right. So, you just said, Texas and Penn State highly overrated. Now, what if Texas, and they lost to Florida by 8 points.
What if they beat Oklahoma?
What if they beat Oklahoma? An unranked Texas team beating the number, 5 or 6 ranked Oklahoma Sooners. So, listen, I don't think Texas' season's over. I don't think Penn State's is over. Although I think Penn State's going to have a really hard time going to Columbus and winning that game. So I think if you got 2 losses, you still got a shot. You get that 3rd loss, I think you're pretty much done.
They still have Indiana on the schedule.
Right.
And I'm not saying Indiana at Penn State is an easy win, but it's still going to be a tough game for Penn State.
Oh, there's no question.
Did I see, please tell me I looked at it wrong. Did I see Texas as favored in that game?
Against Oklahoma?
By 3.5?
Wouldn't surprise me.
There's no, I think I saw it.
Wouldn't surprise me. We'll look it up.
I'll look that up, yeah.
But, I mean, I know that Texas is not ranked. That's still a solid football team, and they're going into the Cotton Bowl Stadium there in Dallas at the State Fair, which is such a great tradition. And usually that game's a noon kickoff. They're kicking off at 3:30 this year, but I love the Red River rivalry. I do. I think it's one of the great rivalries in all of college football. It's one of the few great rivalries that isn't played the last game of the regular season.
Right.
And that's what keeps that one a little bit different. I mean, you got some, like, you've got what's so funny because when USC and Notre Dame play, if it's in Los Angeles, it's the last game of the year. If it's in South Bend, it's, about mid-October. So that's kind of an either-or type deal. Depends on what year it is. If it's at Notre Dame, it's middle of the year. If it's in L.A., it's going to be the last game of the year. But I love some of these regular season rivalries like that. But it wouldn't shock me to see Texas beat Oklahoma.
Not at all. Now, you're old enough to remember, I'm old enough to remember when Texas-Oklahoma was a Big 8 game. And
No. Texas, Oklahoma was Southwest versus.
I'm sorry, Oklahoma, Nebraska.
Yes,
I said that wrong. I was getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, Nebraska was a Big 8 game, and so Oklahoma had the 2 rivalries.
They did. Yeah.
And now we don't get the Oklahoma, Nebraska at all.
And we don't even get Oklahoma State. We don't even get Bedlam.
That's right.
They've ended that one.
They did end that. A lot of these rivalries are going away. Well, I was on the show when we were talking about what 3 rivalries would Tennessee get moving forward now. And that
now we know.
Has come up. And now you're going to start losing some of the rivalries, the yearly rivalries in the SEC.
Tennessee is not playing Georgia for the next 2 years.
That's right.
Oh, man, that's heartbreaking to me. But that's the reality of these mega conferences. It's not like they will never play Georgia. They will play Georgia, but they won't play them again for 2 more years.
Or in a playoff game.
Or that's true, the SEC championship game or postseason in the playoffs. You're right. But no, that's one of those things where I don't know. All right, let me ask you this: Billy Napier. We've been talking about is he's on the hot seat. He's on the hot seat. On the hot seat. So he gains a little traction. Florida gets the big win over Texas. Florida's in a little bit of a bind. Obviously, they want to win football games, but do they want Billy Napier to be their head coach going forward? If he continues to upset people, let's say they upset Tennessee. Let's say that, have a few more upsets this year. Can you fire the guy if he's won some big games over some rivals after losing, like he did early in September? That's kind of a quandary. Is he the right guy for that job?
I'm not going to answer that because I do not pay attention to Florida, so I honestly don't know.
Okay, they're 2-3 right now.
Right. What I will say is every organization claims it's all about victories, but you and I know it's more than just victories. And he has ticked off a lot of their base.
He has.
He has. So as a result, do I keep him even if he goes 9-3 this year? Probably not. You've got their schedule. Go ahead.
Here it is. All right. Florida's sitting there at 2-3. They beat Long Island 55-0. They lost 3 straight. They lost at home against South Florida, at LSU, and at Miami. Now, the LSU game, LSU handed that to them on a platter. The Miami dominated them. That wasn't even a competitive game. And then they come home and they beat the Texas Longhorns. Now they're at Texas A&M this weekend. Florida's capable of beating A&M.
A&M didn't look that good this week.
That's the thing. We don't know. We think we know these teams, but we really don't. So that's what makes college football. And listen, frankly, the NFL, golly, the NFL never disappoints. I mean, you had New England goes to Buffalo. And I'm sitting there going, I thought this is going to be a 35-10 blowout.
I thought
win.
the same thing.
And New England played out of their mind. And Buffalo kept turning the ball over. And next thing you know, they lose by a field goal. And I was like, that's the NFL for you. Now, college football is the big upsets just shock you. The NFL is like, that happens. It happens every week in the NFL.
I think a big part of that, less in college, more in pro, is the disparity between the talent is a lot smaller in the NFL.
Oh, there's so much parity.
There's so much parity. And I thought you were going to say, instead of Buffalo, New England, I thought you might say the Chargers and the Commanders.
Again,
They're at home. Now, I did read that, I think his first name is Joe. Alt was the offensive lineman. I knew he was out for the Chargers yesterday, and they had another offensive lineman out. So I knew that. But I'm thinking, okay, they're at home. They just lost the week before, so they're going to be more motivated. They could not stop Washington at all yesterday. That's the NFL. It's parity.
It is, and then we could go you go up and down the entire NFL schedule and say, yeah, I can see that, I'm a little shocked, but not really, because the NFL is there's so much parity, but it's all about key guys being there.
That's right.
Look at the Cincinnati Bengals. Without Joe Burrow, they're not the same team. They're not the same team.
They also had no offensive line to start the season, and now they still don't have an offensive line. I had Joe Burrow.
And now they got a very average to below average quarterback right
Browning.
now.
And I read today that they're thinking of switching quarterbacks.
They should. Listen, if I'm them, I call the Atlanta Falcons and say, hey, what would you like for Kirk Cousins? I would.
Or Michael Vick. They're not going to trade Vick, but you've got 2 starters. We'll trade you one.
Well, Michael Vick's coaching football right now. Who you thinking of?
I said Michael Penix. Sorry. I said Vic and didn't even realize it. Sorry. Okay. Michael Penix.
All right, and with that, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we got a fun question we're going to get into. You're listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. We'll be back after this.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Now at Hardees, 2 hand-breaded chicken tender wraps are only $5. Mix and match your favorite flavors like buttermilk ranch, honey mustard, and spicy. Endless combinations start with 2 warm tortillas, each filled with 100% white meat, juicy on the inside, crispy on the outside, hand-breaded chicken tenders. Any 2 wraps, now just $5. Hardees, goodness in the making. These items only. Price and participation may vary. Tax not included. Visit restaurant for details.
ESPN Cleveland 101.3 is powered by Duracell.
Cleveland, the all-new Select Flooring and Remodeling is now open at 5555 North Lee Highway. We carry the top flooring brands you know and trust: Mohawk, Shaw, Engineered Floors, and United Weavers. We also specialize in home remodeling and roofing, delivering quality you can count on. Take advantage of 24 months interest-free credit. Come see us Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and Saturday, 9 to 2. Call us today at 423-889-3007. That's Select Flooring and Remodeling, 5555 North Lee Highway, Cleveland. From the floors to the roof, we've got you covered.
For the past quarter century, Mix 104.1 has been your home for UT Vols football. That's something to celebrate. Vol 25 is here. ESPN Cleveland 101.3 and USS are giving you a chance to win tickets to all of the Tennessee road games this season. Each Monday before a road game, you can register to win tickets to that Saturday's Vols game. Vol 25 is brought to you by USS. Visit USSTN.com/Chattanooga. For more information, check out our ESPN Cleveland 101.3 socials on Facebook and Instagram.
Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Visit milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682.
When you need a new roof, it's all about trust. Your home is too big an investment and you can't afford to make a mistake. Cleveland Plywood has the products and expertise you're looking for. Contractors have trusted them for over 50 years, and they carry only proven products from reputable suppliers like IKO. IKO Cambridge is one of the heaviest weight asphalt shingles you can buy, and their limited warranties are among the industry's best. Protect the investment you've made in your home. Go with the pros at Cleveland Plywood, 2700 20th Street Northeast in Cleveland. Call 472-3357.
It's Monday, so it's burger and beer night at Aubrey's for just $12. Aubrey's Cleveland.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Duracell in Cleveland is now hiring mechanical skilled technicians, $22 to $27 per hour. Excellent benefits beginning day number one. Medical, dental, vision insurance, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com, and I hope everyone out there is having a good Monday. Hey, anyone out there that's interested in getting a couple tickets to Dread Hollow at Ruby Falls, all you got to do is text here at 423-749-1013. That's 423-749-1013, and say that you want the Dread Hollow tickets, and you'll be in the running. So, again, we'll announce that winner tomorrow, but that's the Dread Hollow at Ruby Falls, 2 tickets. So, anyway, all right, so we kind of teased this. Today, you and I were talking on the phone, and we were like, what can we talk about that would be a little bit iffy? And I'll let you state the question, and then we'll both debate it because we disagree on the answer here. So go ahead and ask that question.
Do. And your listeners who have now heard me a few times, they know baseball's my passion. And
you're a traditionalist more so than I am, I think.
I think I'd surprise you.
Okay.
I think I'd surprise you. When you say traditionalist.
First, before you ask the question,
yeah.
I'm so glad they don't do this in postseason, but the runner starting at second base in the extra innings, I despise that. Like, nothing you can believe. Thank goodness they don't do it in the postseason. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
I will be very honest with you. I did not know if the runner would start at second until whatever MLB playoff game I was watching on Saturday went to extra innings, and there was not a runner on. I honestly did not know how they would do it. All right, so here's my question, and I hope some of your listeners will be passionate one way or another.
They will.
Should MLB players who have been accused of taking performance-enhancing drugs be allowed into the Baseball Hall of Fame? Now, the key word in that sentence is accused.
Accused.
And I have a list here, and we don't have to go individually, but Mark McGwire, Rafael Palmeiro, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Andy Pettitte, Sammy Sosa. That's just a small list.
And there's more.
There's a lot more. But those are some of the bigger names who have all been accused, regular season and or playoffs. Jim Gum, should they be allowed in the Hall of Fame?
I say yes. I say, yeah, and here's
course
my
you do.
and of course I do. And here's my reason. Obviously, the word accused, but there's a lot of players that played in that era that are in the Hall of Fame. They were never accused, but we don't know they didn't. We don't know they did, but we also don't know they didn't. My thing is, unless you're 100%, I'm like, listen, I'm going to throw a name out there, and I'm going to say that I don't believe he did, but he might have. King Griffey Jr., Chipper Jones. There's two of them. I don't think either one of those guys juiced. I can't say 100% that I know for a fact they didn't. I don't know. They're in. That's why I'm like. I think there were a lot more doing it than we know, and we're letting everyone else in except for a few that have been, like you said, accused. I'm like, go ahead and let them all in. We know that was an era in baseball. They didn't test for it then. Now they do. You get caught. You get suspended for 80 games. And if you do it again, you're in some serious, serious trouble.
That's right.
So now there are rules and I'm not going to say laws, but there are rules in place now that prevent you could get, because they're tested randomly all the time. That's why I say let them in. And if you want to put someone on their Hall of Fame plaque, do it maybe. Whatever. But Barry Bonds is the best baseball player I've ever seen in my life. And I think he would have been the best baseball player without juicing. He could do everything. He was the only thing he was average at was his throwing arm. Very average throwing arm. Wasn't weak, but it wasn't strong. But he could catch anything he got, had great speed, tremendous batting eye, really good power, even when he was a thinner guy.
He did not have really good power in his younger days with the Pirates. He had decent power. His juicing gave him more power.
But he was a for sure Hall of Famer with or without juicing. The trajectory he was on, he was a great player.
I don't disagree with that.
But there again, and Mark McGwire, listen, his rookie year hit 49 homers. 49 homers as a tall, lanky rookie with the Oakland Athletics, I think it was 87. The guy showed that he could knock the cover off a ball from the get-go. I think he was good. I think he's a Hall of Famer. Listen, his batting average wasn't the greatest in the world, but most feared power hitter for a good 10 years, both in the American League and National League. I think Roger Clemens, my gosh, how many Cy Youngs did this guy win? To me, he's one of the most dominant pitchers I've ever seen. Those three guys, to me, should be in the Hall of Fame.
I'm going to give you a different perspective as to why I say they shouldn't. Number one, it was illegal back then for them to take drugs. They just didn't test for it. So you can't say, not you, people can't say, well, they weren't breaking the rules. Yes, they were breaking the rules. They just weren't testing for it, and there weren't punishments. But I'm going to give you a different perspective, one that I heard from somebody else, is what about all those players in that era, let's just say the 80s and 90s, who weren't taking the drugs and were doing it the correct way?
I'll get that.
And they were being left behind by all the illegal drugs that other players were taking.
I get that, and that's something that really bothers me when I sit here and think. I'm like, there were guys that didn't juice, that did do it the right way. We know they're out there. It's just, how do you differentiate the guys who might have got away with it that we never even suspected, and they got in the Hall of Fame? That's the thing. I'm like, well, I don't think they did. Maybe they did. I don't know.
Human nature is such that if you and I are in a ball club together and I know you're cheating and I don't like you for whatever reason, and Barry Bonds was known to not be liked in clubhouses, people are going to talk.
Oh, yeah.
People
absolutely.
have friends out there.
No doubt. No doubt.
And that's why some of these names that are being accused, they're always being accused, because the same people are talking about, oh, yeah, that guy, he was a jerk, and I saw him take a needle or take a pill or do whatever. And all these other people aren't being mentioned because they were either liked in the clubhouse and nobody is vindictive against them, or they just weren't doing it and nothing to talk about.
And here's another thing that I will never know. The guys who I think are a little bit smarter, they weren't doing this stuff in the clubhouse. They were doing it in their bedroom at home.
That's exactly.
When there's no one around, and there's nothing there. The idiots were the ones that put it in their locker. For everyone to see.
Androstenedione.
The
Remember that?
HGH stuff. Yeah, we get it. The creatine, we get that. those guys were just not smart, and they just had it there in the open. I'll never forget that interview with Mark McGuire, and the reporter goes, "What's that?"
And nobody knew how to pronounce it.
Right, and that's how that all came about. I guess it's one of those things where, because I don't know, I will promise you there's at least a guy in the Baseball Hall of Fame who got away with it.
100%.
There's no doubt. And my thing is, if he's in, and here's another thing. Back in the 60s and 70s, amphetamines were very, very popular.
They had them out in the locker rooms.
A lot of people call them greenies.
They were out on tables in the locker rooms.
And players took them. Literally every player. Hank Aaron probably took them. Literally every player took them. But it was just to keep you, sharp. All right. Is that performance enhancing? I don't know. How do you want to define performance enhancing? It just keeps you more alert.
Let me turn the tables for just a second. Let's pretend we're not talking about professional sports. You and I both sold media. You currently sell media. Mm-hmm. And let's say one of your coworkers was up for a promotion and they only got ahead because they cheated. Doesn't matter what they cheated, right. Mm-hmm. But they were getting ahead only because they cheated. Otherwise, you were in line for that promotion, that bonus or whatever.
I see where you're going.
Okay, so now people are being rewarded for getting ahead because of cheating. And I don't think that that's right. They do not belong in the Hall of Fame. They cheated, and there are consequences for your actions.
Those are the ones that really hit hard, because if someone were to get a promotion ahead of me, I don't want to know about it. But, man, if I do, I got a real problem.
Because they cheated fictitiously. In this example, they cheated to get ahead of Jim, and that's wrong. And Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa and Roger Clemens, they cheated to get ahead of other players of their era, and their rewards were things like the All-Star Game, were things like making the postseason because they were a little better. They got larger contracts. They were rewarded for cheating.
Let me ask you this, and I know we got to hit a break here in a minute. Do you consider Barry Bonds to be have the most home runs in a single season and the most home runs career-wise? Do you recognize him as that?
Roger Maris. I don't even count McGuire and Sosa because I know they cheated.
What if Aaron Judge hit 62 last year? Do you count him? He would have broken Roger Maris. I'm assuming he did it clean.
I'd like to believe. So I forgot about him, but I just think of Roger Maris as going back to, I don't even want to say the good old days.
Do you consider Hank Aaron to be the greatest home run hitter of all time?
Oh, wow.
Barry Bonds has more career home runs. Babe Ruth is third.
I would probably say Bonds. Even with his cheating, he was moving up the ranks. I'd like to believe before he started cheating. That's a great question.
Think about it. You don't have. Maybe we'll get to it later at the end of the show. Anyway, hey, let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Cleveland High School football coach Chris Brown. We'll be back after this.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
This is John Davis, the trading man at Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway. Is your old car really scary? Are you frightened about how much you owe? Don't be afraid. We'll take any trade. Let your scary old car rust in peace. At Kia Cleveland, we can help you escape from your old car even if you have months left or still owe thousands. Like new, low miles, or rusted or busted, all trade-ins are welcome. You'll be shocked by how much we'll pay for your old car toward the purchase of a new Kia, and we'll buy your car for cash even if you don't buy a car from us. Are you haunted by bad credit? Don't sweat it. Our lenders will say yes to you and yes to your situation. Don't be frightened by how much you owe on your old car. At Kia of Cleveland, we can get you out. Come see me, John Davis, at Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee, where trading your car is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Negative trade equity financed in new loan, subject to lender approval. Expires month end.
The difference between an average morning and a Hardee's morning is hearty goodness that lasts till lunchtime. like Hardees smoked sausage biscuit, split Hillshire Farm smoked sausage on a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and our Frisco breakfast sandwich with cherrywood smoked bacon or ham on toasted sourdough. Hardees, goodness in the making. Download the app and join my rewards for special offers. Available for a limited time at participating restaurants.
When competition is fierce, sports injuries happen, and Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Saturday sports clinics are available at our Chattanooga and Cleveland offices from August 23rd through November 8th for the treatment of non-emergency orthopedic injuries like sprains, strains, and fractures. Doors open at 9 a.m., no appointment needed to be seen by our highly trained physicians and clinical staff. Saturday sports clinic dates are subject to change. Check sportmed.com for the latest information. That's sportmed.com.
Listen to the Alon Exchange, hosted by financial professionals Jay and Brittany Hagee, owners of Alon Planning Partners. Each week they discuss all things financial and answer your questions about investing, preparing for retirement, paying down debt, and more. The Alon Exchange, Saturdays at 7 a.m. on ESPN Cleveland 1013.
This is Alfonso Revizo, General Manager over at Crown in Cleveland, your local Jeep and Ram dealership.
Cleveland Tire Center, locally owned and operated for over 45 years. Cleveland Tire, your one-stop auto care shop in Cleveland. North Lee Highway, where the name says it all.
Need a new shop, garage, or other unique space? Explore post-frame building kits from Best Buy Metals. Best Buy Metals kits utilize steel trusses for the ultimate in strength and durability. When you need it to last, call Best Buy Metals. Stop by or visit bestbuymetalroof.com for your custom structure.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, espncleveland1013.com.
When it comes to Mayfield Dairy Ice Cream, you'll never have a boring bite. Their limited edition ice creams, cherry chocolate chip and banana pudding, are inspired by traditional Southern recipes and seasonal favorites. Pick some up today at your local grocery store. And we're happy to be joined by head football coach at Cleveland, Chris Brown. Coach Brown, how you doing, man?
Doing well. Appreciate y'all having me.
Oh, absolutely, man. So talk a little bit about that game on Friday night against Bradley. What were your overall thoughts?
It's obviously we wanted to show better, but I felt like early on we had some signs of a better play, especially defensively with getting that turnover and forcing some 3-and-outs. And, eventually, get to the point where we call the physical impasse where they just had they took advantage of their size mismatches and were able to wear us down. And with us not being able to sustain much offensively, just being able to wear us to where we just, our fists really lagged at the end.
So how do you handle open dates? A lot of coaches do it differently as far as like you and your coaches and the players. What's your philosophy on having an open date?
Well, one, you don't want to lose too much ground, especially with what we have to play for at the end of the season. So I've always believed in a good, strong 3-day work week. We're going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, normal times, normal procedures. But instead of really scouting our next opponent or next two opponents, we take this opportunity to sharpen us up, to get better at Cleveland versus Cleveland.
Gotcha.
And make sure that, we're touching our young guys as well. And so it's, for us, we get 3 great work days and then use the time at the end of the week to heal and then start back on Sunday for our normal routine process. That's a great use of our fall break.
So that answered my question, because I was going to ask you when you start preparing for Bearden. But this opportunity this extra time gives you an opportunity to kind of maybe retool a few things. Is there going to be any type of a difference in the way you, I guess, offensively when you play that Bearden game?
Well, we've got to take the information that we have, and you got to reevaluate after injuries and see what we can do to put our best 11 on the field to put us in a position to get some points on the board. So, yes, obviously that's been something that we've lacked on the last few weeks, but I'm confident that we'll we'll do and make the changes that we need to be more productive.
Coach, this is Bart Greenberger. I'm co-hosting with Jim this week. I'm curious, the off week, is that an opportunity for you to get healthy as well? Having a couple of weeks in between games, does that help the team?
Unfortunately, some of the major injuries that we've had are not those that you heal back from with an extra week. But I think speaking for any level of football, when you get an opportunity to rest from the huge collision impacts that you get on a normal game day Friday, you're naturally going to feel fresher. So, as far as getting guys back that have been missing through the year, probably not. But getting the other 30 to 40 kids that rep on a Friday night, getting them some tread back on their tires, absolutely.
Healthy body, healthy mind. I get that.
Yep, absolutely. Coach, last question. This team, listen, we all know you want to get a win, but these last 3 games, I really feel like you guys have a real opportunity to end the season strong. And I know it's hard to say momentum can carry over from one season to the next, but, man, I really believe that this will be a good medicine for your team if you can find a win come down the stretch.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's been a brutal schedule. The region, the teams that are up are way up, and it just so happened that the teams that are in a similar position to us just happen to fall the last 3 games of the year. But as far as we're concerned, as a staff and as a team, we have an opportunity to not just get a win, but I mean, if we're able to create momentum and play our best football, we could win out and get into the playoffs. And for us, that would be just a huge marker. And it's certainly our goal because we've won the last 3 games. But, we're such a young roster. We're such an inexperienced roster as far as what we came into the year with, that anything positive here in these last few weeks, what would be huge for us as we springboard towards our first real off season together.
Right. Coach, man, we appreciate it, partner. You have a good rest of the week.
Appreciate you all. Have a great day.
Good luck.
Thank you, man. It's tough.
It is tough.
We've all, listen, I've been on teams that were champions, and I've been on teams where we were at the very, very bottom. It's tough. But, man, you can build character. Listen, you want to see which guys are willing to – there's going to be guys that quit. You're going to have that. But you're going to have some guys say, I don't want this feeling ever again, and I'm going to work harder than I've ever worked before to not have this feeling in 2026. I'm curious to see how all this works out for Cleveland. I know next year they're not going to be winless. There's just no way. This is, like he said, the perfect storm. They had maybe the most brutal schedule in the entire state and a team that was decimated by transfers.
And injuries, as he just pointed out. I don't know enough about high school football around here to know what anybody's going to do in 2026, but what I do know is that the younger kids are going to see those upperclassmen who are working hard, and those are the people they're going to want to emulate. And I'm sure Coach is going to them right now. To the upperclassmen who are coming back next year, I want you to be the example for next year.
I get that. And those are the juniors. The ones I feel the worst for are the seniors this year. Because, man, what a listen, and he said this, he goes, if they win their last 3 games, they could find themselves in the postseason. Let's just win one game first, But, man, that's a tough pill to swallow if you're a senior. Because, listen, Cleveland historically is a perennial power in this area. And to be sitting there with a bagel as far as, in the win column, that's tough.
I officiated a Cleveland varsity game it would have been 2 years ago. And I'm telling you, the crowd was into it. I felt like a rock star walking onto the field. I can't tell you who they play. I can't tell you if they won, but I agree with you. It's one of those anomalies, and I do feel for the seniors who put all the effort in during the offseason, just like every other year, and for their senior year to be 0-0. It's
tough.
Right now.
It's tough. All right, I want to change gears here. We've got about 10 minutes left in the show. This past Sunday, obviously, we had another game in London. We had, Minnesota beat the Cleveland Browns. So now we've got all these games. And by the way, Roger Goodell, if you believe all the reports out there, his goal is to have 16 regular season games played outside of the United States. be that in Ireland, England, Germany, Spain. They've already played one in Brazil. There's a chance of getting a game. And Mexico City wouldn't be that bad because it's just across border. Buffalo used to play some games in Toronto. I wouldn't consider Mexico City and Toronto that big of a deal. And then they're talking about maybe having a game in Australia in 2026. Yeah. What's your opinion about NFL games being played like in Europe, like I said, Ireland, England, Germany, Spain, and other places?
I am a business coach by nature. So my job is working with small business owners to help them grow their business. All Roger Goodell is doing, in my opinion, is growing a large business. Yes, you go after new fans. One of the things the NFL has done really well is they've been going after more women the last few years, educate them so they understand the game. They're trying to grow their business, and that's all this is a business. And what greater way to get more fans than go to another country? And in this case, what Goodell is doing is he's going to, you just rattled off 7 or 8 different countries.
Ireland, England, Germany, Spain, Brazil, Mexico, Australia in 2026. They don't even have that one. They said they're going to have a game there. We don't know. I'm assuming Sydney or Melbourne. And then who knows what the teams will be.
But that's 6 countries for sure. Australia would be a 7th country. They're growing their brand by trying to get more and more people. I did watch the Minnesota-Cleveland game yesterday morning.
Okay.
And the camera, and they paired it with the announcers, they panned the crowd, and they were saying how many different jerseys NFL jerseys can we find in the crowd?
Other than the Browns and Vikings.
Other than the Browns and the Vikings. And there was 12, 13. I love that.
That's pretty cool now.
As a business, you grow the brand by growing more customers. And football right now, the NFL is an American company, and they are trying to grow it internationally. Just like other sports, I look at soccer, I look at F1. They're trying to grow by getting the American market. We're doing the same thing going the other way. I'm all for it. Do I like the travel that is 7-8 hours? No. But what you know is that if you play an international game, with the exception of the Minnesota Vikings who played back-to-back,
right?
But after the second one, they now get a bye.
They get an open date
on the way back to the States.
And that makes sense. That makes sense to do that.
Yes. I'm a fan.
Okay. Because a lot of people aren't. I'm okay with it, too. I don't know if I want to see 16, but
That's
I think
a bit much.
I think what 6, maybe 5 or 6 games. I'm okay with it. By the way, did you see that one field goal? It hit that guide wire. It hit that wire, and they missed it.
They missed it.
Now, luckily, it didn't cost the Vikings the game. They ended up winning anyway. But that was that should have been a redo.
Absolutely, I'd never seen that before.
Yeah, I'm like, are you kidding me?
Did you see the play? I can't tell you which game. A defensive lineman batted a ball,
and it hit
the camera.
Yep, I saw that. I'm trying to remember which game that was, and they missed it too.
Well, it was a dead ball. It was an incomplete pass.
But it should have been a redo.
Well, it should have been. You're right.
They missed it, though. It was, like I said, because it hit the ground, so it was just an incomplete pass. But they said that should have been a redo. That's nuts. Here's my thing. I get the NFL has the sky cam. They're on those cables. Every high school game I go to, there is a one of those hover crap. What are those?
Oh, drones.
Drones. There's drones over literally every high school field.
2.
Can they not just get a drone over these NFL stadiums, or they feel like that's kind of a risky thing? But I mean, they do it in high school. Literally every high school game, there's a drone or 2 over the field, and they're videotaping.
It's one for each team. I'm telling you, I see it every week when I'm on the field.
And the NFL they will not allow it. They won't allow drones. They'll allow a cable-supported camera. But if you got a cable like that, we could see a situation like what we saw in Europe. Just saying. But could you imagine if that had been a drone and that batted ball hits a drone and then the drone crashes onto the field and God forbid it hits a player?
My guess is that the NFL has gone in every stadium that they are in, they've already invested in that cable system for the camera, so there's no point in having a drone. It doesn't happen in American stadia.
Yeah,
it only happens in Europe.
I wonder why. Maybe they just had it lower than it needed to be.
I'm wondering the same. On that field goal, I'm wondering the same.
I'll bet you money they're going to address it to where this can't possibly happen. I don't know if you remember the first year that AT&T Stadium opened up in Arlington, there was a punter that punted the ball and it hit it. So they raised that thing up by about 20 feet or so because they said, yeah, we can't have this happening.
But did you also hear it was during the preseason game?
It was.
And the punter tried to hit it.
He did try to hit it.
And he admitted that there's no way I would do that kick in a game because the kick went up.
So it wasn't going very far.
Right.
But you're right. He did do it on purpose. But the fact that he hit it, I'm like, yeah.
I love it.
But they did. Jerry Jones actually said, yeah, we raised it. I think it was like 20 feet or something.
Sounds
like
right.
But, the way that these kickers are hitting the ball these days, here's something. Should the NFL and college football extend the uprights higher than they currently are? Could they not do it by another 20 feet? Because how many field goals do we see go above the uprights? I'm sitting there going, if the uprights were just taller, we would know if they went in, because it's a judgment call at that point. The officials on the ground, they have to make a judgment call. Did that go inside the uprights? That's a tough one.
It's actually not. When you're standing below an upright, which as a line judge, my responsibility on every field goal and every extra point is I just look straight up. Jim, I know it looks more complicated from a camera, but I promise you, when I am standing underneath, there is no question if the ball is inside or outside. It's really not.
But wouldn't it be even more sure if they raised? You can't listen. The uprights have been the same height for like 40 years.
You just said you're a traditionalist. Now you want higher goalposts?
But you can't tell me that technology hasn't gotten to the point where we couldn't extend those things and not have to redo every, I guess, goalpost in the entire United States. Sure, they've got some alloys that are lightweight that can still be taller and not have to, redo the footing and everything. I'm like, fix it if you can. I get that there's some things you can't fix, but you can't tell me they can't make uprights taller than they currently are.
So we're going to put an asterisk next to Jim's traditionalist.
What's the one, if you could change a rule in, let's say, baseball, if you could change one rule in baseball, I'm putting you on the spot when I'm doing
gosh.
it, or one rule about maybe the field or something like that. I've told you about the hash marks. I've told you about that in college football and even in high school. By the way, on that field goal that Walker Valley kicked, they were on the very right hash mark. They had to run the ball one extra time to get it in the middle of the field, call timeout with like 2 seconds to go, because we even talked to the coach after the game. He goes, yeah, that was it would have been so severe. He goes, I don't think he could have made it. I'm sitting there going, that shouldn't even be an issue. There's the fact that the hash marks are that wide in high school and college, to me, it's ridiculous. And I've yelled from the mountaintops on that for years, and apparently nobody's listening to me. Anything in baseball? Anything in baseball you can think of?
I'm going to request a 3-day moratorium. You are allowing me to come back on Thursday. I need time to think about that.
Are you not coming tomorrow? I can't remember what days you're. I can't remember what
Thursday and Friday.
Okay,
Monday, Thursday, Friday, and I appreciate you having me. I can't. There are rules. At this moment, I can't think of any. So just give me 2 days to think about it. And when I'm here on Thursday, re-ask it, because I can already think of a high school football rule that I hate. That I know why they do it.
I know. It's the kickoff that goes in the end zone without being touched.
No. Do you know what rule I hate? Is that players are not allowed to wear two mouthpieces. They are no longer allowed to wear a mouthpiece hanging down from their helmet. I know why, but it's such a dumb rule.
Interesting. Hey, we've run out of time. Bart, thanks so much for coming in today, man.
Thank you for having me. I'll be back Thursday.
Absolutely. Hey, and everyone out there, have a great rest of Monday. We will see you at 5 o'clock tomorrow. You've been listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland.
It's time for a Don Ledford of Cleveland traffic update on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Don Ledford Chevrolet Buick GMC, located on North Lee Highway in Cleveland.